In Luke chapter 2, there's wind, there's fire, there are all these languages being spoken. It's chaotic, it's messy. And what's the crowd's first explanation? The crowd said there's only one explanation for the chaos. They have had too much wine. They must be drunk. Which leads me to one of my favorite opening lines in the Bible. Then Peter stood up and said to the people, "These people are not drunk as you suppose. It's only 9 a.m. I love that. Peter's first sermon starts with, "Hey guys, it's 9 a.m. Who drinks that early in the morning?" Folks, thanks for joining me as we walk through the book of Acts together. And here's my prayer, that as we read about the story of the first church, that you would uncover a new and a fresh appreciation for what it looks like to follow Jesus. Because as you've heard today, the book of Acts is raw, it's unpolished. It's this ragtag story of a church that was willing to do anything in order to widen the circle. Today, we're looking at Acts chapter 2, verses 14 through 47. And after Peter's great opening line that I started with, Peter actually does something powerful. He doesn't yell at those who are making light of what's going on. He doesn't insult them. He doesn't feel the need to start an argument. He simply tells them a story, the story of Jesus. And verse 37 says, "When the people heard this, they were cut to the heart." That phrase, cut to the heart, it means to deeply pierced, not as if they were ashamed or made to feel embarrassed or shouted into submission. It says they were pierced, or to say it another way, the story of Jesus touched their hearts. Today, we tend to lob sort of verbal grenades when we feel attacked, don't we? We assume louder equals more effective. But on that day when the church began, the truth of Jesus wasn't used as a weapon. Instead, the story of Jesus was used to reach people's hearts. And what happens next? Verse 41 says, "About 3,000 were added to their number that day." 3,000, which sounds like explosive church growth, and it is, but look at what growth actually looks like. It says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. All the believers were together and had everything in common. You see, for them, growth wasn't just numbers. It was a shared life. With the love of Jesus at the center, they ate together, they prayed together, they shared everything together. They made sure that no one was in need. This wasn't a crowd anymore. It had become a community. I want you to imagine a scene. Imagine a neighborhood after a summer storm knocks out the power. At first, everyone's sort of isolated in their own dark house. But then someone opens their garage door and drags a grill into the driveway. Someone else brings a cooler and a few lawn chairs over. Kids start playing. Food gets shared. It's an impromptu, lights-out barbecue. Suddenly, what felt like a crisis becomes a moment for connection. You see, that's Acts chapter 2. The Spirit moves, hearts are pierced, and isolated individuals become a community. And don't miss this. This all starts with Peter, a guy who not that long ago denied even knowing Jesus. Now he's standing up at 9 a.m. saying, "Let me tell you what I've seen." This is how God works in anxious times. Not through perfect people, not through flawless presentations, but through everyday, ordinary people, witnesses. And when hearts are reached, not attacked, beautiful, loving, Christ-centered communities are born. So maybe today, the question for our church today isn't, how do we get bigger? Maybe it's, are we becoming the kind of people who share life so deeply that others want in?